Hey guys, so I finally read A Game of Thrones and I had promised you guys a book review since I first started, which I think was 2 months ago or maybe 1.5. But yeah, it took me a really long time to go through this book, not because I didn't like it or anything like that, because I did, but just because I already knew the story since I had already watched the TV show. Which there's a TV show about this book, but this video is going to be mainly about the book. So this is the book. It is called A Game of Thrones and it is the first book in the Song of Ice and Fire series, I think, and it's written by George R.R. Martin. As you can tell, this is my Spanish version, but yeah. The story, I think, would be classified into some epic fantasy kind of category. It takes place kind of in this medieval world that's kind of similar to our world, but with some like mythical creatures and magic and things like that. But for the most part, it is human. I would say that I don't recommend to read this book on the beach or the pool, something like that, because it has a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot of different characters and stories and things like that, and you really want to be focused on the book and not anything else, because otherwise you would get lost. It is a very complex story, but it is easy to follow if you are just concentrated and focused on it. So let's begin explaining what this whole book is all about. So the story takes place in this kind of continent named Westeros, I think. And yeah, this continent is basically divided into the north and the south. There are some other places, but these are the places where the author focuses on more. So yeah, there's a king that's called the King of the Seven Kingdoms that kind of rules the whole continent. Kind of, not really, but you know. And he lives in King's Landing, which is kind of the capital of the south. And then in the north lives this Stark family, and that are the family that kind of rules that kind of the continent. And they live in Winterfell, which is the capital of the north. Something unique about this book is that the chapters are divided by characters. Let's see if I can find one here. Instead of being chapter 1, 2, 3, whatever, and they are titled with the name of the character the chapter is going to focus on. So it's that has its good things and bad things, in my opinion. I like it because it's kind of dynamic and you can see different parts of the story, but at the same time it's kind of confusing because maybe you're in the north with this character and all of a sudden you are, I don't know, not even in the south, but in this place. I think it's the east, where like there are a lot of different people with a lot of different habits and ways of living and stuff like that. So it's kind of confusing because, you know, there are a lot of characters, and I really mean a lot again. But I do think it's entertaining. There are basically 3 storylines in the whole book. The first one is the story of the king and the Starks, like the 2 families, because Ned Stark, who is kind of the man that rules the north, is very, very good friends with the king. And at some point in the book, at the very beginning, I'm not spoiling anything, at the very beginning he has to go to the south to live in King's Landing. And a lot of things start happening, like there's romance and there's murder and I don't know, just a lot of things. Then the second storyline takes place in the Wall, which is located norther than the north. It's like really, really up there, and it's really cold and freezing, and basically it's just this huge fort or just wall, basically ice wall, where that divides the North and the kind of Westeros continent from what's beyond. And we don't really know what's beyond, we only know that there are a lot of these mythical creatures and things like that, but the author doesn't go really into that in this first book. And there live these men that are called the Night Watch, and they are basically just warriors that live there and that fight, like they learn how to fight there because they have to protect the wall from what's beyond it. And then the third storyline is the one that focuses on the characters of Daenerys and Viserys Targaryen, who are part of the Targaryen family, who were the ones, like the royal family before this present king, whose name is Robert Baratheon, by the way. I think I didn't mention that. Before Robert took the kingdom, basically. So they are trying to survive there. I don't remember where they were, but yeah, they're trying to survive, and they are also trying to get kind of an army to go back to the Seven Kingdoms and take the kingdom back, basically. So these are the three main stories, but there are a ton of different little stories here and there. There are a lot of mysteries that you have to kind of find out and things like that. I'm not gonna say anything else because I don't want to spoil the book for you, those of you guys that want to read it and know nothing about the story. I am going to say that Daenerys Targaryen is my favorite character right now. Just because she's introduced as this fragile little dependent girl, and then little by little she becomes this mature grown-up woman, very independent and just very powerful. So I think she kind of represents the whole women spirit, basically. There are different women in this story, but she, like strong women, I mean, but she is the one that stands out the most because she wants to take the throne back, and yeah, she just becomes really strong and independent and mature, and she knows so much, and it's just, I really like her. So that being said, I am gonna say also that this book has some mature content in it, so if you are the book, not so much. I would say if you are 16 maybe or older, you can read it. If you're younger, I would ask for your parents' permission because it does have a lot of violence and sexual things and stuff like that. The TV show, on the other hand, is really sexual. Yes, so I would not recommend watching it if you are young. You know, probably if you are 18 or more, because yeah, it has some really explicit content that I don't think needs to be there because there's no mention of it in the books, like for the most part. But it is there, like you see a lot of intimate parts and things like that. So if you're very sensitive, or if you think your parents are not gonna agree with it, don't watch it. Don't say I sent you or anything like that. And yeah, but I do recommend the story. I really like them. The TV show is actually very true to the book, the first season at least. I'm currently reading the second book. I just started, and I did watch the second season. I don't know how relatable that is, but that would be a whole different video. Hopefully sooner, because even though the book is a lot thicker, like this one has 700 pages, more or less, and the second one has, I think, 900 or something around there. So it is a thicker book, but I've been told that the story is a little bit more different than the TV show, so I'm hoping I can go through that faster and make a review for you guys. But yeah, the first season is very similar to the book, and I would say there are some characters that disappear, but no big deal. I mean, come on. So yeah, I highly recommend these books. Let me know if you have read them, what you think of them, or if you're planning on reading them. And yeah, I think that's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!